Welcome in, everybody. It's been a little while, but we are back with an episode of the Fly High Wi Fi Mental Health Podcast. Um, you'll have to forgive us as life has been crazy, as usual. Work's picking up. People are traveling the world, enjoying themselves, taking their mental break, resetting, which is important. But we missed you guys. Hopefully, you missed us. We do have some good topics tonight. If I can get this out of my eye. We have gut instincts, social media addiction, and mental health issues with social media. All right. So we all know social media is massive. And my view on it is it can be a godsend and the devil all in one. And I've always said that. But we're here to bring you some statistics and some more info about it. So, but first, before we get started, you tell us a little bit about Greece.
Um, yeah, what do you want to know?
Favorite part, least favorite part.
My it's like my
So,
favorite part.
yeah.
Honestly, I just like the culture. I think everything you did was like history behind it. All the people are super nice. I don't know if it's just because they make their money off of tourism, so they are gonna be nice to everyone.
Right.
Um, the islands were super beautiful. So Athens is kind of losing a little bit of the culture because they're growing very big, but the
Mm.
islands keep kind of their core.
Okay.
So I went to three of the islands. Um, the museums are like out of this world compared to stuff we see here. Um, Probably my least favorite thing is they're obsessed with blue eyes.
Oh God. I can only imagine how that went.
There was a lot of awkward uh taxi drivers would be driving and they'd like look up and they'd be like, "You have blue eyes." And be like mid sentence, and I'd be like, "Yep, sure do."
Yeah, eyes forward.
So that was just something. It's part of their culture too. You'll see like the blue eye everywhere.
We're doing the podcast, babe. She needs the keys for the car.
Uh,
What do you mean? She's sorry.
um, you see like the blue eye everywhere because it wheels off negative energy. So I guess if
Yeah.
you have blue eyes, you just naturally are able to do that. I don't know.
Okay. Cricky
Other
wants to
than
know if
that,
you recommend it.
I do. I do recommend it. I recommend spending more time on the islands than on the mainland, though.
Islands over mainland. Okay. Good to know. All right, you ready to get into this?
Yeah.
All right. What do you want to start with?
I was gonna ask you that.
Eh, it don't matter to me.
Uh, we'll start with the gut-brain connection
Gut
or
brain connection or gun instinct.
gut
Oh,
instinct.
all right.
Um, Actually, first, I feel like I was just saying this, but just a reminder that May is is Mental Health Awareness Month.
Yes, it is.
So, um, keep that in mind. Today's May 1st. We have a whole month. So gut-brain connection. So we've all talked about having like a gut feeling about something. They've kind of been brushed off in the past, but there's actually studies currently going on that actually proved this is actually a real thing.
Okay.
We've talked about the polyvagal theory in the past, where that central nerve is connected to everything in the body.
Yes.
So this connects the gut to your brain, giving that alarm bell feeling.
Hmm.
Um, so the polyvagal theory provides further insight by explaining how the vagal nerve, which connects the brain to the gut, plays a crucial role in transmitting gut feelings to the brain. The theory highlights how our state, driven by the autonomic nervous system, influences our perception of safety and threat. So, when you're in those situations and you're saying like you're having that gut feeling, you start to get anxious and it's making your stomach or whatnot
Right.
act up. That is the polyvagal theory kicking in and that gut instinct kicking in. This theory goes further and says that your gut actually acts as a second brain, because if you go further into it, when you have like anxiety, stress, anything else, not only does your brain get affected, typically your stomach gets affected too.
Nausea.
You start to have like
Yeah.
digestive issues and stuff like that. So they're connecting your gut, your stomach, and your brain in a very big way.
Wow. So it's not just another wives' tale of trusting your gut instinct. It's actually true.
Um, they talked about this interceptor in a way of the internal perception of your body. However, you don't just take that intuition feeling, you also have to have rational analysis. So you can't just walk around saying, like, oh, I have a gut feeling. You need to take in the surrounding scenarios and have rational perception on the intuition as well. So the gut feeling needs to be played in with something else too.
Okay.
So it talks further into like when to listen to your body. There's a acronym called SMILE. So the S
Okay.
stands for self-awareness. Before using your intuition, it's important to check in on your emotional state. So if you're overly positive or negative, then you should not use your intuition because you're going to lean towards that positive or negative mindset when you're trying to use that gut feeling. So
Okay.
you have to be balanced in that scenario when you're trying to use the gut feeling. The M stands for mastery. Intuition is something you have to learn. So you have to learn that about yourself when those feelings are kicking in. So if you're a more anxious person, that intuition or that gut feeling you're feeling may just be your anxiety kicking in before the intuition. So just understanding when your body's going to be playing those games with you.
Right.
The I stands for instincts and addiction. So people will often use instinct and intuition interchangeably. But while intuition is something you learn, instinct is something that you are born with. For example, if you give a baby a slice of lemon, it will put it in its mouth and then spit it out. Well, that's of course it likes it. But you have to learn the difference between what is going on and something that you've learned,
Right.
because not all situations are going to be the same. For the reference to the addiction, is a warning that is drawn towards addictive things, or gambling, or from gambling to alcohol to social media. It's like a natural intuition. That's because a craving gives you a natural internal feeling, so you feel comfortable with that. So your perception or your internal receptors are going to pull you to that.
Okay.
So don't confuse the two. The L in SMILE stands for low probability. This is a reference to not try to use intuition or to feel your way around anything to do with numbers or probability. You should not use your intuition, like your gut feeling, when it comes to that. And then E stands for environment. This links back to the mastery and learning. So intuition is location specific and does not transfer well to different environments. So if you're in a different environment, you're already going to be anxious, maybe
Anxious. Right.
overwhelmed. So perfect example is I shouldn't have been using my um instincts in Greece. I should have been more aware of anything going on versus back home. I'm more calm. I could use my gut feelings better than I could have in Greece because it was
Right.
a whole new environment.
So with environment, I think about this like as far as gut instinct goes. For those who have like suffered a traumatic event and then they have to go back into a situation similar to that one, it shouldn't become like, oh, I need to trust my gut instinct because you might be anxious
Mhm.
in a bad scenario, even PTSD situations, right? It's, oh, well, last time we were here, we did this. I just should trust my gut when really that's not that. It's your anxiety talking,
Yep.
more or
That's
less.
exactly right.
Okay.
Yep. Um so perfect example of what you just said is like when not to trust your intuition or your gut's feeling is they use the example of sports, but PTSD, when you're under time of pressure where you have to make rapid decisions with no time to think of the probabilities. We know the physical actions access the unconscious mind, so we want to go back to the things we know or that we've done before.
Yeah.
And you should take the time to circle and not trust that gut instinct and actually see all the probabilities.
I don't know why they're messaging me. Sorry. I'm not live on any other platforms.
You're fine.
Cricky, can you do me a favor and check like Rumble, Twitch on both channels to make sure that I'm not live? Please and thank you. We're going to move forward.
So that's pretty much what I had for that. These are kind of shorter topics just to kind of get us
Right.
back into the groove.
Yeah. Probably a good thing.
Uh, um, so that was interesting that there actually is a tie between like the gut instinct in your brain,
Yeah, to
but
say for
you
there's go ahead.
but you have to be cautious when it's actually something that you've learned versus something that actually is instinct.
Right. And that's crazy to me. They say call it your second brain. I just don't, how do you prove that?
It goes back to the polyvagal theory. That was everything I was reading was like the polyvagal theory is proving that it's all tied, but you have to watch that it's not learned behavior or something that you've been through.
And I
If
could
it's
see
just
it
an
with
open
sports.
mind.
You're the one that they want to take the last shot, or if you're up to bat last, and last time you were up to bat, you struck out, and that's in your head.
Hmm.
Okay, I guess I'm live on Rumble.
Isn't
I
that
don't
the one
know.
that you
I turned that one off first. I don't know. I and I had that turned on also when I started the stream. It was on, so I don't know. Oh well, minor things. We'll get
we good?
ironed out. Yeah, we're good.
Okay.
Thanks, Cricky.
Uh yeah, they're looking more into that, but yeah, there is the tie between the polyvagal theory and how there is,
That's crazy.
I guess, evidence behind people having actual gut instincts, but you have to
Right.
be able to know the difference between
But how do you
something
tell
that's
the
learned.
difference?
I guess
You
the
know?
state of what you're in and being able to know your surroundings.
Yeah.
I mean,
I guess.
I don't
Yeah.
know, gut instinct, like don't walk down a dark alley by yourself. I don't.
That's a gut instinct. Yeah, I shouldn't do this, but I'm gonna do it anyways, kind of thing. I get it. Oh shoot.
um, I don't know truly how you would know. I guess maybe different mindset. Like you use your PTSD example. I feel like there you could tell like as an individual you're anxious about it.
Right.
Maybe nobody else can tell, but like you truly know that you're anxious. So you're making those decisions based off an anxious mindset versus a calm mindset. But that goes into a deeper talk of like, is that person dissociated? So maybe they do think they're calm.
Right. Sorry, there's stupid email about multi-streaming.
Um, so that's it on that.
Alrighty. Then next one is a big
Your
topic to
favorite.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, social media. I'm ready.
You got anything to say? Okay.
I just it's social media. You can fall down a deep
um,
dark hole with social media,
so this is
especially
kind of focused. Oh, go ahead.
political or religious side of it if you get involved in all that and you can just got to know your triggers.
So this is kind of more focused on like statistics and kind of,
Scout.
I guess, maybe the negative view of
Okay.
social media. Like you've said, there is a positive view of like staying connected with people, keeping up to date, as long as you're like putting boundaries to it. But since we've been talking about addiction, this is more focused on, I guess, that more negative side of what social media can lead to. And honestly, I was kind of shocked a little bit by some of the statistics, especially here for America. Or maybe I wasn't as shocked, but kind of brought it to light a little bit. So, as humans, we're all social creatures. We kind of thrive off of having some social background. Whether you're an introvert or an extrovert, we have our own ways of communicating or getting that connection. We've talked about that a little bit of like we all need some type of social connection. Whether it's to ease stress, anxiety, or depression, there's different forms of it. Um, and to kind of lean on the positive side of social media, if you don't have enough of that connection, there's that negative impact of not having, like, it prevents loneliness, it can help comfort and bring joy to people, different things. Um, but if you're spending an excessive amount of time on social media, it can also bring feelings of sadness, dissatisfaction. You're comparing yourself to other people's lives, frustration, or loneliness.
Right.
So it's bringing the opposite. So it can bring you connection, but it also can push you further away from people. Um, so if you're experiencing any of those, it talks about like re-examining your habits online for a healthier balance. So the mental health crisis in social media is actually growing. It's becoming a major problem with public health issues in the United States specifically. 1 in 5 US adults is living a life with mental illness and they're becoming addicted to social media. So
Okay.
the link between social media and mental health issues are tied to an increase of depression, anxiety, and psychological distress. Specifically, a growth in adolescents and younger children. In the US in the last 12 months, prevalence of major depressive episodes among adolescents increased from 8%, I must have wrote that wrong, but in the last from 2005 to 2014. So this is a pretty big
Older.
span of when,
Yeah.
yeah. Uh, but this is when social media had started to grow pretty drastically. So these numbers are probably even higher. From 8.7% to 11.3%.
Okay.
So the new social media screen activities have been suggested as one of the causes to the increase in depression and suicide among adolescents.
I can see that.
I wrote down the statistic for it. We'll get to it when I get to it.
Okay.
So 10% of Americans, or 33.19 million people, are addicted to social media. Approximately, so globally, 210 million individuals are addicted. So in comparison, we have a pretty high percentage of that number in
Right.
America.
That is pretty wild.
So these are specifically to, so this study is more like newer because it has Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, and TikTok. So that percentage is a newer
Right.
percentage. A big part of that percentage are users from 18 to 22 in America. For example, 60% of Facebook users feel like they can't stop checking the platform, to the point if they need to, they have to delete the app to stop.
I've known a few people. Are you gonna go to like the positive side of this after this?
No,
Okay, because the
you can talk about
addiction.
the positive
I
side.
was gonna say, well, no, not the positive side. I was gonna say, I was just curious because where people, the dopamine addiction, right?
Oh,
From the you going into that?
I
Oh,
don't think
okay,
that's in here now.
okay. So that's one of the reason that addiction, I believe, gets fueled by that is the dopamine rush from how many the rewards from the likes they get or how many comments they get on their pictures or every time they posted this many people or whatever likes it and shares it. But now they're making it worse, in my opinion, by
Mm-hmm.
allowing people to get paid for those.
Yep. So it's that, and then I think the aspect of like checking over and over again, they want to know what's next on the feed, so they're always refreshing
Right.
to see like what's the next thing.
Yeah. What's the next thing I can put
So,
my input in on?
so
Yeah,
I that's where like that dopamine hit comes from too.
absolutely.
And I think the like thing, it's a huge thing, but then it also plays back to like, oh, if I didn't get as many likes as the person before or the person above me, then that's where like the competition or the depression comes in of
And then that, yes, the sadness
it.
sets in.
Yes. I
Yeah.
mean, there's nothing wrong with posting, but there shouldn't be like the competition behind it. You shouldn't be looking for that. And
The
some people
person,
do need the affirmation, but like it shouldn't be the
but
competition behind it.
absolutely not. But a lot of people don't understand, right? A lot of the likes and views that you get on your things depends on how many followers you got and how many people
Hmm.
you're friends with. Obviously, the more people you're friends and followed by, you're gonna have more eyeballs on it, which then they
Yeah.
share, and then all their friends see it. If they might have 40,000 friends,
So if
but
they have 40,000 and they're getting 500 likes and you have 200 people and
you
you're
know,
getting
10,
20,
something
yeah.
little. So that's where people just start going out trying to do everything they can to gain friends and follows and stuff.
Yep.
Same thing with streaming.
Yeah. That's a This is a form of social media
It
right
is
here
definitely
too.
a form of
So,
social media. Look what we're doing. We're a podcast live on a stream,
yeah,
right?
that's a
It's
form of
it's a form
social
of social
media.
media.
That's why we don't go, I mean, obviously we want to hit people, we want to like we want people to come look and listen, but we're not,
I'm not
I guess we're not
posting.
hurt. Yeah, we're not hurt or upset if people don't.
Yeah, we're here to try to help, not be part of the problem, be part of the solution.
Mhm. Um so I mentioned the ages of 18 to 22. being reportedly addicted to social media. Out of the number of Americans, 40% of that number is the 18 to 22 range.
And I could see that one being big with college and
Hmm.
transitioning into adulthood. I could see a lot of that being a big problem, trying to find out your path in life and trying to fit in, maybe where you don't fit in. And
Yep. So this is the one I was trying to look for when we were talking about the statistics from 2007 to 2015, and I'm sure these numbers have either stayed the same or have grown just because of the increase of use in social media. So the suicide rates among teens had a sharp increase during that time, with doubling for teenage girls between that time, and then suicide rates for teenage boys had also rose by 31% during that time period.
shooey,
So like all the comparisons, could be the cyberbullying, it could
bullying,
be
yeah.
it doesn't go into detail what it had caused it, but it said that rates had caused or went up during this time of increase.
And all those play a factor, 100%. Yeah, I know there's a couple documentaries out there about the cyberbullying and the kids that have taken
Mhm.
their lives and stuff. They're found on all your common Netflix and stuff like that. So
Yeah, there's actually quite a few.
yeah, and it's
Um
sad that it's a reality,
yeah, and it's coming out more and more. I mean, it's becoming laws and stuff that you can't, which it should be, like you can't do that. It's the
right?
same as harassing people in person as doing it online instead of being behind a computer screen.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's more
Um,
popular to do it over a computer anymore because then they get to be keyboard warriors and don't have to physically do anything.
that's what I was gonna say, but I was like, I'm not
You're a lot tougher behind that keyboard.
gonna. There's also known a phenomenon known as social media fatigue. Um, People actually get burnout and exhausted from spending so much time on these platforms. So if you know somebody who's like always tired and stuff like that, but they're not doing anything but spending time on social media, it could be because they're having experiencing social media fatigue, and that could be from the anxiety, the depression, or whatever it may be caused from them spending so much time on social media.
Yeah, I'll tell you what, those reels are addicting
They really are.
though. I won't say that
But
I
I
haven't
do.
spent time that I should have been doing something else, scrolling through reels. I'm not above anybody else here.
No, I will say I spent time on it, but to detox is to set boundaries, which I've set
Yeah.
boundaries. Set my little time limit of you're done for the day.
I at least turn the nighttime filter on the phone, you know? At least the no.
Um, or to be device free. I think that one's a little drastic, but it depends on like the level you are. Like if some people can't say no, they like reject the time boundaries. I'm somebody when it's like you're done. I don't know if it's just too much work for me to be like, all right, I want more time.
Right.
I'm like, okay, I'm done. Some people will go around it. So like sometimes being device free until you're like detoxed from it, cool.
Yeah. Oh, sometimes you just got to.
Be device free or watch your reels.
Both. You need a good laugh every once in a while, and sometimes you need to stay away from it.
Depends on which side of it you're on. Sometimes it gets
Yeah.
dark and depressing.
Yeah. It's all in what you watch though. It's all the algorithm.
Exactly. That's why I'm like, sometimes you just gotta get out of there.
Yeah, you gotta switch your algorithm up. Start watching stuff you're not supposed to. And throw the system off.
But that's what I have for that one was the statistics and
All right, guys. This isn't a dig at social media. This is just the reality of it. Reality of it is it can be addicting. It can be good addicting, it can be bad addicting. It's just on how you control it.
yeah, and we both have it. Both of us, we're both
We're
sitting here
doing it
on a
right
social
here.
media
Yeah,
platform. Yeah,
right. We post this to other social media platforms.
and then we
Um,
tell you to go listen to it.
yeah. So it's not a dig. It's just the reality of it. Like I said, I've always been one to say that it can be a godsend and the devil all in one. It's literally just how you use it, what you use it for, what you allow to bother you. If you don't like it, just scroll past it. Sometimes there's been times where I've read something and I want to chime in, type up this long comment, and then I'm like, yeah, it's not even worth my time to deal with the rest. Especially with kids in school. Hearing parents rant.
You want answers? I think I'm entitled. You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle.
Cold blooded, thank you for that gifted. I don't know why alerts are on for the stream right now. It's crazy. Um, everything's
The
just
first
going
one back.
wrong.
We're a little
It's just all
rusty.
going
We're
back.
a little rusty. Next one will be
Yeah, I'll have everything
normal.
in. No, probably not. Nah, I don't know what's going on. I'm getting yelled at by a kick. Nothing's working. But
We made it.
got
We did it.
yeah, we got to talk about the things that we're talking about. All right, all right, guys. Again, thank thank you. I know it's been a little while. We'll try to be a little more consistent here. And remember, May is Mental Health Awareness Month. Spread the word. I'll try to stream more. I will. Don't yell at me, chat. Um, but on behalf of myself, Fly High Wi-Fi. You're not making this easy. They said you won't see him again until the next podcast. Wow, that's crazy. But again, on behalf of myself, Fly High Wi-Fi, Mrs. Wi-Fi, and all you guys, thank you and have a great night. Bye.
Bye.